let's go ahead and talk about pass optimal lineups and GPP winning lineups. Again, like I said in the intro, the reason we look at this is try to find some common trends, some common themes of lineups with salary structures, stuff like that, to put into our lineup building process this week. Last week at the Arnold Palmer, and I'll cover that in the review, when we went over pass optimal lineups, we saw more lineups that had 2 6K golfers in it than we didn't. So I was kind of saying, you know what, maybe put 2 6K golfers in your lineup. Well, the optimal lineup had 2 6K golfers in it. So you can go check the preview video that I had for the Arnold. Well, actually, it was a wrap up. It was a strategy and preview since I had an emergency Monday. You can go to that portion of it, or check out one of the small videos or one of the shorter videos that I had that included the review of never mind, that would be wrong. You'd want to look at the preview video that I would have posted, but I don't think I did, so I'm sorry, disregard that. Oh, I did put out a pass optimal lineup and GPP winning lineup. That's the video I'm thinking of. I got distracted. Check that one out, because that's what we found. You want to, there were more lineups of 2 6K golfers in it that were in the optimal lineup. Not so much the GPP winning lineup, but anyways, moving on. I'm sorry. I got distracted, so now I'm just mumbling. In 2017, so we had salaries, believe it or not, for DraftKings in 2017. So they ran a contest here, and I think this might have been one of their first ones. Maybe the Masters was their first one, and then this one was a short second, or another one that they came out with. Your optimal left nearly $9,000 on the table, $8,600 on the table. Never advocate for that, ever. Never, ever, ever. Don't leave more than $1,000 on the table. And that's even difficult to even say. I almost don't want you to leave more than $500 or $600 on the table. Just don't think it's necessary. So your optimal, look at all the 7 and 6K golfers at the top of the leaderboard. That's impossible. Just don't do that. Looking at a more realistic lineup, so we're looking at like 49,500 and above. You can see it starts with Dustin Johnson at $12,000. Pricing was weird in 2017, but it's still a rank order of how good the golfers are in comparison to each other. That's how DraftKings has always done their salaries. That's why we continue to look at it. It's not nonsense. So Dustin Johnson, probably one of the highest ranked golfers in the field. I'm not going to sort it out, but either way, as you see, $12,000. A more realistic lineup that would have probably taken down a GPP started with a golfer 10K and above. And then it dropped to 2 8K golfers, a 7, and 2 6s. So that's kind of our first indication. Maybe you want 2 6s, 2 6K golfers in our lineup this week. Going to 2018, your optimal left a lot of money on the table once again. It did include an 11K, but then it was just 5 7Ks to go with that. I do have a more realistic lineup that left $900 on the table, but I might try to create one with you guys right now to see if we can find something closer, because I don't like that. Either way, a more realistic lineup, we're including the 11K and then 4 7K golfers, and then adding Tiger Woods at $8,600. I bet you we could probably replace like Jimmy Walker with another 8K golfer. No, this is $100 over. Well, I mean, we could go from Schwartzel down to Jimmy Walker. There you go. That's $50,000 right there. So it would have been a 10K golfer, 2 8s, like we just saw in the last year in 2017, and then 3 7s. So we don't have the 2 6s, but you can see there are several 6K golfers inside the top 10. Several, I mean 3. So it's worth noting that you could take down a GPP once again by putting multiple 6K golfers in your lineup. Now you don't have to, because obviously the optimal had nothing but 7K golfers in it, basically. Moving on to 2019, our optimal only left $900 on the table, and then the GPP winning lineup only left $100 on the table. So with the optimal, we had Rory at 10K and above, so we have another 10K golfer. In fact, we have two of them, Rory and Dustin Johnson. And then look at that, Eddie Pepperell at 6,800, Johnny Vegas at 6,100. So two 6K golfers once again, but let's add in a third one and then a low 7. That's probably unrealistic, honestly. We look at the GPP winning lineup. We have 5 golfers here inside the top 12, and then we have another one down here in 56th place. So you don't need to get all 6 golfers inside the top 10 or top 20. You can have one linger and still take it down to GPP. But this one started with Rory at 10K, Rahm at 9K, Tommy Fleetwood at 8, Jim Furyk at 7, Ian Poulter at 7, and Brandt Snedeker at 6. Or I'm sorry, Johnny Vegas at $6,100. That common 10-9-8-7-7-6 build, 1 AGPP. Now, if I was building like a more realistic lineup, because leaving $900 on the table isn't super realistic, especially with an optimal. We start with a 10K golfer in Rory. He obviously won, so we want to keep him. Furyk and Pepperell, sure, that makes sense. High 6K golfer is a lot easier to stomach than a low 6K, so we'll just keep those 3. Then we'll put in Tommy Fleetwood, $8,800. Why not add another 6K in Brandt Snedeker, 69? So now I have $9,600 to play with. There you go, Jason Day. So we start with a 10K golfer, go to a 9K golfer, then to an 8, a 7, and 2 6s. So we already see the trend, right? 2 6K golfers. And again, this is just trends that we see. Kind of shows, and I know other content creators out there show this in different ways, that this is a tournament of volatility. In 2020, that was COVID, just boom, happened right at this tournament. They canceled it after round 1, so we have no finishes whatsoever. No salaries to think about. But in 2021, when you moved there, our optimal lineup left $900 on the table. And looks like we have a substitution that we could have made. Yeah, Sergio and Taylor Gooch. We could switch those out. So let's keep that in mind. Your optimal lineup actually had Bryson at 9,700, Justin Thomas at 9,900, Paul Casey at 84. Again, so Taylor Gooch and Sergio Garcia are interchangeable. They scored the same amount of points and you could fit them in the optimal lineup. So it's either 7K flat with Taylor Gooch or 7,500 with Sergio. So just keep that in mind. We're going to keep Gooch in our optimal here. And then we have a 7K in Westwood and a $6,900 in Brian Harmon. So just to repeat that, that's a 998-776 method. Again, kind of follows the 10-9-8-7-7-6 approach that I typically advocate every single week, but you can always make a couple substitutions or up to 2 substitutions, move a 10 down to a 9. There you go. Perfect. We do not see 2 6K golfers that you could really play. Maybe I changed my tune on that. Hold on. If I sort by DK points top to bottom, we have Charlie Hoffman, who was the 8th highest scoring golfer, and then Charles Howell III, who was the 12th highest scoring golfer. I bet you we can win a GPP by putting 2 6K golfers in our lineup together. I don't see a 10K golfer. John Rahm, who is our 19th ranked DK scorer for the week. Probably could include him. So your Millie Maker lineup left $900 on the table and scored 610.5 points. So let's put a Rahm lineup together. So we go with Rahm, JT, Lee Westwood. I'm going to skip Bryson. Go to Paul Casey, Brian Harmon, and this leaves us with $6,700. Charles Howell III. So this is 49.9. How many points does this score? 613. So it takes down the Millie Maker by 2.5 points. So yeah, you can do it that way. Obviously, we don't need to get down to a 10K golfer. We can do 2 9s. And you could put 2 6K golfers in your lineup together, by the way. So that's obviously available to you, building a lineup that way. Let's see, trying to figure out, how do we get 2 6K golfers in our lineup? I don't think it's possible. Yeah, we probably just don't do that. Moving on to 2022. Our optimal left $3,000 on the table. Now, that's not really realistic, but to talk about those golfers, we had Cameron Smith at $9,400, Victor Hovland at $10,000. So we do go 10-9. Then we go 7-7-6-6. Yeah, leaving $3,000 on the table, not super realistic. Your GPP winning lineup used a $9,400 Cam Smith, $9,800 Dustin Johnson, $8,000 Shane Lowry, $7,100 Kevin Kisner, $6,900 Keegan Bradley, and then $87 Louis Oosthuizen. So that started 9-9, 8-8, 7-6. The sweet spot optimal was Victor Hovland at 10K, Dustin Johnson at 9K, Cam Smith at 9K, 2 sevens, and then a 6. That equals 49,900. So many ways you can get there, and it looks like this was another week where you could put another 6K golfer in your lineup. So you could add 2 6K golfers once again. So 10-9 and 2 6s is what I'm seeing more often than not when it comes to building lineups. So that wraps up your pass optimal lineup and GPP winning lineups. We'll talk about salaries once we get to the buckets once again. But for that, this is a wrap on the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups.